Good.
Good. Thank you so much for
Doing
joining
great.
me. I'm so happy to have you. So, you're married.
Yes.
How long have you been married?
So I got married in April. So I've been married for about 8 months. So we were planning the wedding during this crazy pandemic time. We
Pandemic?
weren't even sure if we were going to have the wedding. So I'm glad everything turned out well.
Yeah, I also got married during the pandemic. I had like a small ceremony, but I did see your ceremony on Instagram and it looks amazing. So, I'm glad that it worked out for you and it looked
Thank
fabulous.
you. Thank you so
So,
much.
the topic today is Black women are marrying the best man for the job. So I understand that you married interracially. You married someone who is Asian, an Asian man. And I personally think that we should marry the best man for the job. But I also believe that there are a lot of people who kind of give Black women a little flack about marrying outside of their race. And at the end of the day, I feel like we're just marrying a person. And
Yeah, I agree.
also,
100%.
I feel as if, even the label interracial is still a little weird for me because, like I said, I think that I've dated men and I think that majority of them are the same. Some just take it
Yes.
further with you than others. And so we're really just talking about this interview just to be nosy because at the end of the day, we know that all men are generally the same. All of them kind of still have that male brain. And yeah, so it's
Mhm.
just really to be nosy and to see maybe how you guys connected, how you guys met. And
Yeah, of
yeah,
course.
so
Ask
what
away.
what's the story? And I clearly know you've traveled, so you're very well traveled, you're very well educated, and just tell us what we can know.
Of course. Yeah. So I would say your comment about, at the end of the day, men are kind of just men. I think that's true because I have dated men of practically all races. Um, and not to say like all of them have gone into serious relationships, but most men generally want the same thing or they're looking for the same thing in a woman, right? So,
Mhm.
yeah, I would definitely want to say that point is very, very true. So I met my husband. I met my husband on a dating app. So it's crazy because I
Me too.
did not believe, yeah, I didn't believe in dating apps. I didn't want to go on a dating app, but I actually had a mentor. And I don't think
Mhm.
you know this story either, Kenise, but I had a mentor. She mentored me on not just my career, but she mentored me on relationships as well. So yeah,
I'm
I know
all
it's
about
crazy.
it. I'm all about it.
Yes, I know it's so crazy. So, and she didn't even live in this country. I think she lived in like Sweden or something. But she mentored me, and one of the things that she brought up, because I brought up to her, I want to be in a relationship, and she was a woman who, what she married very successfully. She, was very happy, and I emulated that aspect of her life. And she told me,
Mhm.
based off of my life, because I was in a very male dominated career. I'm still in that type of space. And I
Mhm.
love my job. But because of that, it
Mm.
kind of limited how much time I had available to meet people and to go out. And so she had recommended to me to get onto this dating app that was exclusive. And so she was
Exclusive.
she was saying, yeah, I don't say exclusive. I guess it might be less exclusive now. I don't know, but you had to like
Yeah.
be accepted to like be on the
I
dating
think
app.
that's
Um,
wonderful.
yeah, and if you, because I know some people watching may want to know, so I'll say what it is. It's the league.
No
So she
way.
told me to go. Yeah, she
I
told me to go on
tried
the
the
league.
league. I never got even one bite. I promise.
Really. So funny. I was like seriously on the league for 2 months, and then I was
Mm.
my husband's first match on that date on that app. So yeah, it's crazy. So I thought, so I was like, we could probably be like spokespeople for this dating app, because
What?
I wasn't on there for long, and I was this first match, and
2 months?
like, yeah, for the first, yeah. So I honestly, it just happened really fast. Um, that's not to say I still went on a few more dates from the lead than he did, because
Yeah.
I don't think I stopped dating until maybe our fifth or eighth date did I start to cut out the other men.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like, oh, okay, we had a great first date, I'm just gonna cut off all the other suitors. Like, it wasn't like that for me. Because like I
Same
said, I
for
also
me.
had a,
I literally play by those same kind of like unspoken rules of just like just seeing and making sure you're
yeah,
attracted to someone and
right,
vetting,
exactly.
still vetting. Hmm.
Exactly. You know, in hindsight, I'm glad I did that, because in the beginning, my husband was dating other women too. So, like most men are, like, just like how you're
Mine
on this
too.
dating app, like, yeah, exactly. So that's where it's like, I'm glad I did what I did. Then he was the one that brought up being exclusive
Mm,
first. So I was like, okay, because I wasn't really sure, like, if I wanted to get married right away. I knew I wanted to get married. I
right.
just didn't know if I wanted to get married very soon, because I
Did
was
you want to
23 when I met
did
my
you
husband.
want to get married when because just because of your desire, or why did you have a desire to get married?
I had a desire to get married because, well, part of it's my tradition. I
Hmm.
grew up in a very traditional household. My mom,
Mm.
leave it up to my mom, I would have been married by 23. I got married at 25. So, I mean, like, I would have gotten married so much sooner.
Wow.
I mean, leave it up to my mom, I'd probably have kids by now too. So,
Yeah, for
so
sure.
I knew I always
Same.
wanted to get married. Yeah, like, I knew I always wanted to get married, and I knew I wanted a relationship similar to what my parents had, and
Hmm.
then even similar to what my mentor had as well. And so I knew that there were benefits to marriage, but I had certain rules in place where I wasn't going to get, because I was very happy single. And I think that's the key
Hmm.
to dating successfully, is being happy single, because that way you're not in a hurry to just pick someone because
Yes.
you're in a place of lack, I want to say.
Hmm.
You're moving
Absolutely.
more of a place, you're moving more in a space of abundance. So that's where I knew, okay, I'm only going to get married if my life is going to be better with you than without.
Mm,
That was just like that's how I'll know, is if I can picture my life being better with you than not having you in my life.
right.
So that's kind of how I knew. But yeah, so my husband
So,
asked me out for brunch.
uh-huh.
That's our
Yeah,
first date.
that's what I was gonna ask. Like, what was the first date? It was a brunch. Do you remember what day it was? Like, was it a Saturday, a Sunday?
Yeah, no, it's a Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a Sunday. We went out for brunch. I don't know if it was like around 1 p.m. And I
Hmm.
feel so bad because I was like 30 minutes late to our first date. It was terrible. And part of it was because I was doing Pilates before. I know this sounds like so I was doing
First world
Pilates, and
problems.
I thought I could make it on time. So I messaged him, like, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm so late. And I kept on like profusely apologizing, but he was so nice. He was so sweet about it.
Mm,
And now, since I know the kind of person he is, he's so prompt. Like, he loves being on time. So I'm really surprised that he still continued to give me a chance after that.
like color
But
people time.
I was like more or less on time for the following dates. I mean,
Okay,
he may
good.
say something different, but I was more or less on time. So yeah, it was cute, romantic first date. I don't have
Mhm.
any like rules on a first date besides I don't do first dates on at night. When I was dating, I didn't do anything
Yeah.
at nighttime, simply because I was like, I don't know this person, so I don't want to
Hmm.
meet you at night. But
Safety is
besides
your
that,
number one. Yeah.
yeah, for sure, 100%. So besides that, I was pretty open to a first date. Oh, and I never went really far. I always made sure the guy came to me. So
Yes.
so like he chose a really nice brunch spot close to where I lived, there was like a live pianist there. It was really
Mm.
romantic. So he chose a nice spot for, and I didn't even know that area was in my neighborhood. So, I mean, where we went. So, so, but this just goes to show that, even if men aren't local to where you are, because my husband was living in the city and I lived in the suburbs, even if men aren't local
Oh,
to where you are, they can use the internet. Like they could Google and find a date. I didn't plan any dates. So,
wow. So I guess my next question would be, how did marriage come about? Was it something you said that you wanted? Was it just something that you guys talked about? How did it come about?
good question. So, he actually brought it up first. But it
Okay.
was more so like we were in the car and he was just asking me, um, how long do you believe in dating until like you need to get married? Or how long do you think a
Mm,
person should date till they get married? Which kind of caught me off guard because
hmm.
he's very laid back. So I didn't picture him like asking a serious question at the time. But yeah, so I didn't know how to answer it. I was like, I guess like a year. And then he's like, yeah, I think I need like a year or two. But in my mind, I was freaking out because I was like, I don't know if I can wait 2 years. I don't know. But it was
Really?
funny because after our 1 year anniversary, I kid you not, as soon as we hit that 1 year mark, we went out for brunch again. And he was like, let's go looking for rings. Let's go shopping for rings.
I'm about
So
to die right now. Are you kidding?
yeah.
That's amazing.
So yeah, so but yeah, so he brought it up and then he was the one that initiated shopping for rings and um yeah, I mean, he was the one that asked my parents for their blessing.
Mm.
So he kind of initiated the whole
So is he older than you, or are
marriage
you
thing.
guys the same age?
He's older than me. He's 6 years older than me.
Oh, nice. So, what do you think stood out about you? I mean, I know that you're well traveled. That will be attractive to anyone. I know that you have a great education. That will be attractive to anyone. So, what things do you think that you maybe showed him? I know you came from a very traditional household. Do you think that you maybe showed him that you were a wife? I mean, what do you
I
think
think
kind of steered him?
uh I think, well, first now since I got a better picture of his family background,
Hmm.
he was adopted when he was a baby, but he
Hmm.
grew up in a two-parent household. His parents were married for many, many years until his father passed away. So, and his mom was a housewife for, a very long time. So I think he's always valued marriage. He's always
Hmm.
valued family. And yeah, I think what for me, I asked him this question of, okay, if I decided I do want to have kids one day, but I asked him this question. I was like, if I decided that I didn't want to ever have kids, would you still want to get married, or would you still want to marry a woman
Mm.
if she didn't want to have kids? And he said yes. So not all
Mm.
men believe in marriage just for the sake of children, and I think that's how you can tell if a man is really marriage minded. And I
That's the
think
same
what
thing with my husband. I swear, because we go back and forth about the idea, but
right,
that's such a
yeah.
deep
So I
point. I
think
did not think you would say something like that.
yeah, you know. But yeah, no, he told me, he's like, as long as I have you, I'm happy, you know.
Mm.
And I think for him, when I asked him, I was like, because I feel like every woman asks this question to their man, like, what attracted you to me, or like, why did you pick me, kind of thing. But
I know
you
just
know,
how we are. It's our nature.
yeah, like we
Like,
want to know,
why?
and
Why
yeah, we
me?
want to know why. Yes. We want to know why, but it also makes us feel good. Let's be honest. It makes us
Ego.
feel good with the guy. Yeah. But yeah, he told me, he's like, you're just so easy to talk to. He's like, I don't
Mm.
feel like I'm walking on eggshells around you and I can just be
Mm.
myself. So, and that just caught me off guard because I honestly thought he was gonna say like my looks or something. No, I'm joking. But so no,
Of
but it just caught
course.
me off guard because he told me, like, the last woman I was in a relationship with, everything turned into an argument. and there was like no peace.
Yeah, most of
So,
us aren't emotionally current. I mean, it really takes being self-aware. So I think even me,
mhm,
I've had to like, I've been that girl before, you know?
yeah, definitely. Yeah, so that was his response when I asked him that question.
Yeah. So when did you know that things were going to be serious? Was that when he asked? Because, they asked us to be exclusive and we're like, sure,
Right.
But then time passes and certain women will find ourselves just in this continuous routine, this continuous phase. And we're just like, where are we
Yeah.
going with this?
Right.
So did
Definitely.
things get
Definitely.
serious at a certain point? If you could look at it objectively?
Yeah. I would say things started to get serious when he invited me to his sister's baby shower.
Mm,
And then when for Christmas time, um, he invited me to his family's vacation home for Christmas. And
okay.
I remember like being like, he's like, my mom got you a stocking. Sorry, I don't want to like, he's like, sorry, I don't want to like freak you out or anything like that. I told her it's weird, but my mom got you stocking kind of thing. And it was so cute because it was one of those stockings where my name was engraved on the stocking. Like it was a handmade stocking. So I was
Stop.
like, oh, I'm here to stay. I was like, oh, I'm here to stay. I'm part of the family now. I have my own stocking. So that's how I knew.
Mom
That's how
was
I knew.
all on you. I know just what to do.
Yeah, but his whole family's so sweet. I love his entire family. I love my in-laws. I think I have like some of the best in-laws. So
Yeah. So what do you think about Black women? Because you're fully Black, right?
I identify as black. I'm like I took the 23andMe test, so I'm
Uh-huh.
70% black. So I just say I'm black.
Yeah,
I'm
because I
70.
seen your parents on your Instagram and I didn't know for sure. So
Yeah,
just wanted to ask.
my parents are my mom is black, but my dad is multiracial, so
Okay, that's
I
what I
guess you
thought.
could
I
consider.
thought I thought your mom looked more like me because I know your skin
Yeah,
tone is more brown, but obviously
yes,
genetics
yes.
are genetics. But I just wanted to make sure.
Right.
So,
Right. No, I
um,
identify as black. I'm mostly black.
yeah. So, what do you think of our marriage rates being at 70%? What do you think of? I I I think that a lot of us, this is what I personally think. I think that a lot of us are kind of waiting to close the deal. So we're waiting that 2 year mark, that 3 year mark, where things are kind of like getting into like more of a routine. And we've kind of showed a
Right.
person everything. We've done all the cool stuff we could do in the bedroom. And it's just like we've cooked all of our favorite dishes. And
Yeah.
I feel like if we close a deal within a year or at a year mark, I feel like things could really open up for us. But I obviously there's other things because I know we really don't marry out of our race a lot. I think we're the lowest race
Yeah.
of women to not
We
marry out
are.
of our race. So, what are your thoughts, just speaking objectively?
Yeah. I definitely. So I don't think that a woman should stick around for like many, many years.
Mm-hmm.
But I also, to give you a perspective of our relationship timeline, my husband probably, we went shopping for rings a little like a week or two after our 1 year anniversary of dating.
Mm-hmm.
And within a year and a half, he proposed.
Mm-hmm.
It probably would have been sooner if I didn't, if the whole pandemic thing. And then we had like an 8 month engagement. So we
Yeah.
were together for about 2.5 years before we got married.
Okay.
I felt I was comfortable with that timeline because of my age. I met him when I was 23.
Absolutely.
I got married at 25, so I was comfortable with that timeline. But if it had been like 2 years of us dating and I didn't have a ring, I don't know if I would have stuck around. If that makes sense. And I
Yeah,
don't
because the
believe in like a
ring was sort
super
of like that insurance. Like, okay, you want me,
right.
you're making an investment. Back in the day,
Exactly.
they had the dowry where they would pay our parents, So it was an
Right.
investment.
Yeah, and um I don't think I would have stuck around for a really long engagement either.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but you made a really good point about, we've been together for a long time. I like cooking his favorite dishes. I've shown him all the tricks in the bedroom. I didn't do that when I was dating. It wasn't necessarily like a strategy thing.
Uh-huh.
I identify as Christian, so I always believed in waiting until marriage. This is my belief. I'm not saying this has to be anyone's
Mm.
values. But so for me, I waited until marriage, until I became sexually active um,
Wow.
with my husband. So yeah, 2.5 years is long, but I
I
figured if I
thought
waited all those
you
other years
told me
before,
that. Yeah, I thought you told me that,
yeah,
but I was like,
yeah,
sure you
yeah,
did. No, I'm just kidding. Wow,
yeah. No, I
that's
did. So,
incredible.
so I do think and I didn't live with him before I got married. So there were a
Mhm.
lot of things that I didn't do before I got married. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know if this is like a tactic kind of thing. For me, it came from a place of this were my values. This is what I believed in.
Values.
It didn't come
Absolutely.
from it didn't come from a place of manipulation. Like
Hmm.
I'm trying to do all these tricks so you can marry me kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just what I believed in. But I think that may have played a role in him wanting to move things faster, maybe. I don't know. I'm not
Mm,
in his head, but
yeah.
maybe that played a factor into it. I think another thing too is that a lot of women aren't dating men who believe in marriage and who are
Mm.
marriage minded. I think for a lot of Black women, um, the numbers just don't also line up for us. If all of Black women wanted to marry, I think like Black women outnumber men like what, 3 to 1.
3 to 1, exactly. That's exactly
So I
right.
mean,
Hmm.
if every woman wanted to marry a Black man, assuming they're all heterosexual, assuming that they're all like marriage material, meaning that you
Hmm.
know
Hmm.
they're
I know
men
what
that
you
could make good
mean.
husbands and fathers, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and have
Because
good
there's no man of any
backgrounds.
race.
Hmm.
Exactly. There's no man of any race where I should say there's no race where all the men are marriage material. There's like every race has men that are not ready to be married, right? Just like how every race has men that are ready to be married and are good marriage material. So I don't ever want to come in a space of like bashing Black men, but I
Yes.
do believe that the numbers just don't add up for us. So I think a lot of Black women are not married because they're holding out for a Black man. And realistically speaking, it's like the numbers just don't add up for you,
Mm.
but I would also encourage women, especially Black women, to think about where does that come from? Like why you want to limit yourself to just one race, or why do you feel like you need to marry, you know, one race of men? Because I think a lot of women, especially Black women, they think of it more of a place of okay. Uh, for example, like I feel like he can understand me better and we can connect better. But I mean, there are certain things that you grow up with where you may connect better with someone that comes from a similar environment than you that
Mhm.
may not necessarily be the same race as you. So, for example, like if you're part of a religious sect, you may actually connect with a person who's a different race than you, but is of that same
Mhm.
religious sect versus someone who's just the same race as you. Like you may have more in common with that person. So just think about where that's coming from and what space it's coming from. That's not to say that, you know, a woman can't find a Black man that she wants to marry, but
Mhm.
just what's your motive? What's your reason for that? I would just encourage like a lot of Black women to think about that because you may be able to find that in someone else, because you have to think
Yeah.
about what you want. Do you want to be married or do you want to just be with a person of a particular race?
Mhm.
So, yeah,
What do
but I think
you?
that's probably why.
What were you gonna say?
No, I was saying I think that's probably why. So, Yeah, I
Yeah,
just think we're
I think you
numbers
brought
don't
up
add up.
some really great questions. I would say that those are phenomenal questions. And, I think that there are wonderful men in every single race. I think, I have two black brothers, and I think
Of
that they
course.
are wonderful men. And I also want them to be happy, as well as I wanted myself to be happy. And I always say, like, I was giving out applications to every man. They all had applications. Just, you know,
Yeah,
it's just like a
exactly.
job interview. It's like, no,
Yeah, I'm
next,
just gonna pick the
next,
best man for
next.
the job. Like, right, exactly. Like, I don't think when I was dating, I definitely didn't cut off black men at all when I was dating.
Absolutely.
I was
Yeah.
open to black men, I was open to white men, I was open to Asian men. Honestly, all the black men in my life are amazing. My brother's amazing.
Mhm.
You know, the black male friends that I have are really awesome men, and any woman would be lucky to be with them. So, I mean, I was open to all races. May the best man win.
Exactly. So what would you say that marriage like brings to your life? Like what would you say? Like would you say that you help your husband in some ways? Like, what are you like your because obviously you work a 9 to 5. So what are your roles
Hmm.
in the house? What are your husband's roles? Like tell us some
Yeah,
about home life and marriage.
yeah, oh, of course. So, yeah, no, my husband adds a lot of value to my life, and I think I think I add a lot of value to his, as well. I love being married. It brings a sense of contentment, peace,
Mm.
security. Those are like the words that come to mind when I think of, marriage. I think of like support. We support one another. Um, I'm able to work from home, so that's really convenient for me.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
so, and I am more or less am able to control my schedule as well. So that allows me like a lot of flexibility. I think I do have a more traditional, dynamic in our marriage. My husband covers like the financial stuff. Not necessarily because I'm not in a place to cover it myself, as I make a high salary, but
Mm.
I've always wanted the option. I just like having the option of one day when I do have kids, I can quit if I need to, and it doesn't, uh, impact us financially. So that's why we decided to
Mm.
just live from his income.
Mm.
So he's the financial provider for our household. That being said, I do take on a lot of the household responsibilities. But he does lighten the load. I mean, because I do work still and I love my job, he has hired house cleaners for me. So that
Mm-hmm.
makes life easier. And he loves to cook. I actually can cook, but I haven't cooked that much in our marriage because he loves to cook. So I feel like I've kind of looked out.
Really? Yeah, that's
But yeah, so
amazing.
that's kind of how I would say our dynamic is in our relationship. Some things are traditional. I would say most things are traditional, but some things aren't. I mean, he likes to cook, like I said. So,
So, do you still have kind of time to yourself, and does he get time to himself, or are you guys like glued at the hip? Like, what phase are you guys in right
yeah, no, we're still very much, I feel like, in the phase of, we have time for ourselves.
now? Yeah,
I will
same
go
with.
and do my
Mm-hmm.
spa days or I'll study. A lot of my time has been spent studying for the industry that I'm in. I need to pass a
Mm-hmm.
lot of exams and stuff like that. So, I have less free time than him lately, but he goes golfing with his friends often. And he
Yeah,
will,
guy
and
time is extremely important. Do you get mad
yes,
or jealous or anything?
no, not at all. But I think it's because I've met most of his male friends. So
Mm-hmm.
that gives me reassurance of I know they're not the type of men to encourage my husband to do something that's not good for him or anything that could threaten our marriage. So
Right.
they're all good men. His friends, they're very good men. So I I'm not worried. And I do think that it's important that my husband have space for me from me, and I have space from him sometimes, because I think it makes our connection stronger, like when we come back
Yes.
together again. And I don't know, I'm a girl that likes to pamper herself. Like, I will have my spa days. So I just like, if he goes to play golf, I'm like, okay, whatever. This gives me space. Where I'm an introvert, so that's probably what it is. But it gives
Yeah.
me space to just like take a bath or go for a massage or get my nails done or something. So
Yeah.
I just focus on doing other things.
So, how would you say that did you have a vision for your life? Did you have an age where you were like, I'm gonna be married by 25? How would you
Uh,
say that you plan your life?
yeah, I will say I've always been the type of woman, even though I'm in a traditional marriage, and I guess I've gotten married. I guess 25 is considered young these days to get married.
Yeah.
But I've
I
always
didn't get married
considered
until I
myself,
was 28. Yeah,
I think
28.
that's like the average age, though, for women
Okay.
in America, in the Western. So I don't think that's late. I think that's like the average age, and most women get married. But yeah, so I knew I wanted to get married in my 20s. I think maybe I was like, I would like to have been married at 25, maybe.
Hmm.
But I made more plans around my career, how much money I wanted to make, and where I wanted to be financially, and all these kinds of things, more than I made
Mm.
around my relationship, and where I wanted my relationships to be when I was planning out my life. But that's something that my mentor helped me reframe, because she was like,
Mm.
see how you're so intentional about all these things that you wanted to accomplish. She's like, and I'll be honest, am very satisfied where I'm at in career, and financially where I'm at. But she was like, that was because you were so intentional. But if you're not intentional about your relationships, you're just gonna like, it's never gonna happen, kind of thing, or you can't be surprised if it doesn't happen.
Mm.
So I don't think I made any um serious plans. Like, I knew I wanted to get married, but I didn't set a time or an age or anything like that until I started to talk with my mentor, and she started to ask me these questions. And it was then that I realized, okay, if I want to get married, I actually need to like prioritize this and buckle down and get serious. And that's when she put me on the dating app.
Right. So, what type of pictures did you use on the dating app?
So they gave us like several pictures that we could use the way the app was. I don't know how it is now because it's been years, but I used a picture with my girlfriends and I, at like this party. It was like a cocktail kind of party, so I was wearing like a dress, and I mainly used that picture because I didn't have many pictures that showed my full body. So I mainly used that picture so like the guy could get an idea of like the size or my body. Um, and then I used pictures of me traveling, pictures
Mm,
of just me doing things that I like to do.
active, active pictures, like maybe
Yeah,
out and
I did pictures of me
about.
traveling.
Hmm.
Like, there's a picture of me in like Portugal. I was like eating this like delicious platter of food. It was so good. And then there was a picture of me. I think I was in like Japan or something. So it was just things that I like to do and things that just were memorable to me. So I just
So,
shared
you're
those
pretty
pictures.
well traveled. How did
I like
how
to
did
get
this?
around.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, okay. I won't even share where I've been. I'll leave that to the waistline. But something that's coming up for me is, so how are you so well traveled? How did that come about? Just like you being in your single season and traveling. Did you travel solo? Were you with friends when you left the country? How did that go?
I did go on like a trip with my girlfriends, but I mostly traveled solo. I love
Mm.
solo travel. I do. I love it.
So
There's a
before
way
you
to
got
travel
married,
solo.
you traveled a lot solo.
Yes, yes. But I went to like, I mean, I went to places like Japan, Scotland, several places in Europe. I mean,
Mm,
these places were relatively safe for women to travel solo. So it
okay.
didn't feel scary to me. I still set boundaries. Like I'm not a party person, so it wasn't like I went out partying at night solo by myself.
Hmm.
But there were a few times I did travel with my girlfriends as well. But yeah, I did both traveling solo and traveling with my friends. I liked it. Honestly, I would say I would encourage most women if they have the opportunity to at least go on one solo trip.
Mm, I love
Hmm.
that. I so do you think that in a way that kind of like made your single season that much better?
Oh, for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, I love my single season. It doesn't mean I don't love being married now.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I love my single season and what it had to offer me. I think it provided me a lot of perspective and allowed me to appreciate the marriage that I have now. And I will say this though, even though it's fun traveling solo and all that kind of stuff, now since I've been able to like travel more with my husband, it's so much better traveling with like a man. Like it's just so like I've never
No,
traveled with a man before.
I
So it's really
agree.
nice. I'm the type of woman who like plans everything. I plan the activities, I plan the details. And it was just crazy for like me to just like sit back. Like I planned the stuff and then my husband went over it and he's like, well, let's tweak this and then let's find this place to stay instead. Like I was planning at staying at this like hotel or something, and he found this really cool Airbnb that had like gorgeous views. And I was like, wow, like why did I think of this? So it's
Mhm.
just nice. And then also just when I traveled solo, I didn't stay out late. But being with a man, I felt more comfortable for us to stay out late and have
Yeah.
dinner late and that kind of stuff. So it's nice. It's different. I really like it. So
So how would you say like communication is with your husband? Like, would you say that you guys are like super, like not super like texting all the time, but do things change once you get married and just like how you text? Because you're gonna come home to this person now. So, you know,
yeah.
how is that?
Yeah, I feel like I text him more as we
Yeah.
get married. Yeah, like when we were dating, I think I like maybe texted him like 5% of the time we were dating.
Mm,
He mostly reached out to me and like
hmm.
yeah, I would say like he initiated like 95% of the contact. But now since we're married, I just like spam him with anything funny I see on like Instagram or whatever. And he
I
just gets
can
like a
relate.
bunch of like
I can relate.
spam. He just gets a bunch of spam from me. So I don't think, and I mean, and he mostly works from home now too.
Hmm.
So we see each other like often, but what helps is like I'll be in my office and then he's like doing his own thing.
Right,
He's
same,
working at a
same in my
desk
house.
or something. So that kind of helps like give us some time apart from each other throughout the
Hmm.
day. But yeah.
So, and another thing, did you have a big wedding? Did you ask for a big ring? So tell us the details and we'll kind of like talk about one or two more things and then thanks, it'll be fine after that.
Yeah. So I guess I'll answer the ring and then I'll go to the
One
wedding
second,
part.
Marie. I do see some people in the chat. I think we have about four people
Yeah,
watching us live. If you guys want to ask
sure.
any questions before she leaves, feel free
Okay. Hmm.
to. And yeah. All right, Marie, what were we gonna say
Yeah.
about the ring? Because your ring is
Um,
gorgeous.
Thank you so much.
It's
Yeah,
amazing.
I do have a big ring. I did. I don't know. It just feels so weird saying this out loud because I've
She's
never like
so
said this out
modest. She's so
loud.
modest. I'm just kidding.
It's so weird. But no, because I realized like they're not gonna. I guess they're not gonna like see my ring through the video. So I'm like, I'll just be
No,
honest.
we're giving Marie her
Um,
privacy.
but but yeah, I didn't like ask for a big ring, but like when we went ring shopping together, because I didn't even know my ring size. He was like, let's
Mhm.
go ring shopping after like brunch one day. And I was like, okay. So we went into like several stores and I kind of guessed, I mean, I didn't really know his specific budget for the ring. He just told me, um, but I do think it's important to discuss because your finances are going to be combined when you get married. So I do think it's important to discuss how you want to make big purchases. But he didn't tell me exactly like initially this is how much I want to spend on the ring. It was more so like I don't want to finance a ring, so whatever I buy, gonna buy it in cash kind of thing.
Mm,
And I agree with that, you know, because I never wanted him to um, go into debt over a ring, but I
right.
just told him I didn't tell him like what the budget was. I just said, hey, you know, I just don't want to like get into our marriage and we're like financing this ring. We're going into debt over this. Um, but yeah, so but I guess I kind of got an idea of what he was willing to spend when he like first took me into Tiffany's. So I was like, okay. But I did not get a Tiffany ring, no.
Okay.
But I guess like that's kind of how I got an idea of like what the ring budget was gonna be. But I just tried on different styles that I liked. And it kind of just went from there. Like, I didn't necessarily say I wanted a big ring. I just said, okay, I like this style, I like this style. And so my husband was like, you know, try whatever sizes you want and try whatever that you want. And
Hmm.
we went ring shopping once, and then that was it. He never brought it up again until he proposed. So,
Mm.
so
And
yeah. And
then,
then,
yeah.
oh, the wedding. That's right. Sorry. So our wedding. We didn't have like a huge wedding. There was like 55 people, but part of that was because of COVID. Otherwise, I think if it wasn't for the whole pandemic, we probably would have had more people at our wedding. So I don't think it was a lot of people at our wedding. But I did have, I guess, the traditional wedding of like the rehearsal dinner, the wedding, and fan, the bridal party, the groom's party, that kind of stuff. So
Beautiful.
yeah, I had the traditional wedding.
So, would you say overall that you recommend marriage to women, or what would you
Oh,
say?
100%. 100%. But I do think it depends more so on the man you marry, more so than marriage in and of itself. I
Yeah.
will say that. I have some
What
friends
would you
who are
say we
married.
should look for?
The first thing I would say to look for, and this sounds so cliche, but I'm honest, like a man with character. That's
Mm,
so important. I honestly think a man with good character is so important. I found myself in an emergency where I had to go to the emergency room. And the fact that, you know, he drove me to the hospital at 3 a.m. and was there for me the whole night meant so much to me
mm,
because we're all going to grow old. We're all going to get wrinkly. We're going to need someone to take care of us when we get older, you know. And so I think it's so important to be with a man who has character, a man who has integrity. I feel like if you pick a man who has good character, if you look for that first, you'll be covered. Like you'll be good.
mm. Yeah, I think that's so beautiful. Well, thank you so much for letting me be nosy. And I'm
It's
sure
okay.
people stayed on. I know there's about four people on, and I'm
Yeah.
just so
So if anyone
happy.
has questions, yeah.
Yeah, one person did say, "Is there any way for us to see who you have on the call?" Unfortunately, no. We're gonna give
Oh.
you your privacy, but I really do appreciate you guys for staying
Mhm.
on with us. Let me see if I have anything else. I guess I just want to say, I at 23, I I wish that I was more looking to have that mentor figure, looking to have more direction because I mean this is healing so many generational curses.
Mm,
One thing I do like is I have to be frank, I love the way that you guys are doing the finances, where you're living off of his income and ultimately if anything ever happens, it's not like we're living beyond our means, and there's what are the odds of two people losing their job at the same time? Those
Yeah,
are
I know.
kind of rare, especially with all
Yeah.
these different tech industries and all these growing industries. So I think that is like, and another thing is like holding what's sacred to you, keeping yourself until marriage. I mean, that did that take any strength, or was that a piece of
I
cake?
I think so. It was a piece of cake up until I met my husband. I was kind of
Mm.
weird. I don't think like I ever like had a lot of, I think I was a late bloomer in that sense where I didn't have like much temptation, but it wasn't until I met my husband that I was like, oh wow, like I want to hurry up and get married so I can like be sexually active with this guy. Like,
When did you tell him that you were going to be waiting until you were married?
yeah, so I didn't, it's kind of funny because I didn't say it outright. And I kind of
Mhm.
waited like a very long time because we didn't have our first kiss, I think, until like 3.5 months of dating.
Right.
So it was a very long
Yeah.
time. But I, he figured out like a few months in when I made some comment about like, yeah, I forgot what it was. I made some comment that was hinting at like I was waiting until marriage, and he's like, I already know, and I was like, what? He's like, I already know. I was like, how did you know? I didn't
Really?
say anything exactly, and he's like, no. He was like, I just knew because the way he's like the kind of comments you made and the way that you operated. He's like, I kind of figured, So
So
I was
would
like,
you
oh
say
wow.
that you operate with class? Like do you dress modest? Do you conduct yourself
Um,
modestly?
Yeah, I feel like it's weird to call myself like classy, but I wouldn't feel like, oh, I'm so classy, like, but
Conservative?
I guess I'm more conservative.
Hmm.
I do dress more modest, but it's just more so I think I am more like shy when it comes to, I guess, my body. So
Hmm.
I've just dressed more conservative. It wasn't necessarily a place of like I want to display how modest I am, if that makes sense.
Mm, that
Um,
makes sense.
but but now since I'm married, I find myself actually dressing more. I don't want to say like more revealing, but just like wearing tighter clothes,
Hmm.
dressing a little bit more sexy now since I've married. And I don't know if that's just because I've come into like my womanhood or I've
Yeah.
become sexually active, but I like this side of me more.
Yeah. And we all
So
have
I think
different
it's
like
fun to dress.
seasons. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's fun to dress a little sexy and, you know, dress up nice because I think our husbands like it too when we dress sexy when we go out, you
Yeah.
know. They feel good when like, they have like this sexy woman on their arm. Um
Yeah.
but yeah, I would.
Afro Lane just said, sorry, excuse me. She said it sounds like she herself has good character and integrity, so she attracted him accordingly. I would say the same. And from just
Oh,
seeing your
that's so sweet.
Instagram, I would literally say the same. I couldn't agree
Oh,
more. I
that's so
mean, I
sweet.
didn't know what I was going to see when I requested you. I was like, "Oh Lord, please." Cuz
Oh, that is so
I'm
sweet.
so
That's so kind.
selective. But yeah, I would say 100% you're right. Yeah, so is there anything, just any last words of just anything you may have left out, anything you can leave us with? Anything?
So yeah, I guess, well, I would say first, I would say hold fast to your values, hold fast to um, the things that make you you.
Mm,
Don't lose yourself looking for somebody, but also be sure to find a man with character. I think a lot of women, they want a man who's a provider, who's a protector, and all those kinds of things like that. But a man with character, he's never going to let his wife and children starve. He's never going to put his wife and children in harm's way. Um, so the two tie together. So I feel like if you find
mm,
a man with character and you hold fast to your values and what you believe in, and just remain a good person, then I believe that you will find I'm a husband. And I believe that if the desire is placed in your heart, I believe it's placed in your heart for a reason. So the husband will come, the relationship that
Wow.
you want will come.
That's amazing. I love it. I hope I can have you on again in the future. I think this was an amazing conversation.
Okay.
Thank you
Oh,
so
that's so
much,
sweet.
Marie.
Okay, thank you.
And I'll message you on Instagram.